Perez Hilton joins me in Studio Q. Hello.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
We're thrilled you are. This transition to stage is going to take a lot of people by surprise. How did you land this role as Danny?
You know, I made it happen. Earlier this year, I'm so excited to do this because we get to chat for a while and talk about anything. So earlier this year, I was battling anxiety.
Okay.
In a severe way because I had never experienced anxiety before, and I was obsessing about the future in so unhealthily. I could not stop thinking about the future. And then I said, you know what? Anxiety could be a crutch if you let it cripple you, or anxiety could also be inspiring if you let it motivate you to do more. And that's what I did. So I made so many things happen this year, and this show is one of them. I said, I want to do more. I want to be busier because I want to be creating. I want to feel like, I'm making things happen. So I saw a friend of mine who's the choreographer on this show and the co-director post about it on his Facebook page. And I left a comment saying, I want to be a part of this show. I'll even play Mary Kate and Ashley, jokingly. And the co-creator, Topley McSmith, saw my comment and asked my friend if I was being serious. And I said, yes, I'm very serious. So we went out, had a date, basically.
Right.
And it went really well. And now here we are.
Bada boom, bada bing.
I know. I mean, it really was a leap of faith on both sides because I didn't audition.
Right.
And I didn't have anything I could have auditioned with either because there was no script or songs at the time. I did send them ahead of our meeting some videos of me singing so they could see I've been working at this for a few years, taking voice lessons weekly, doing my daily voice exercises myself.
Okay.
And the voice is like a muscle. The more you work, the voice is a muscle, but like you can transform your body, can transform your voice if you work on it diligently. And that's what I've been doing. And I'm just so excited to get to have fun with these awesome people.
Ask you what you think brought the anxiety on at this point in life?
I did this awful reality TV show in the UK called Celebrity Big Brother. And I left that experience a wreck, broken. Not destroyed, because if you're destroyed, you can't put the pieces back together.
Right.
But if you're broken, you can mend that. And the biggest thing for me there was I wasn't sleeping. Normally, I don't need much sleep. I only get maybe about 5-6 hours of sleep a night, but I can function on that. On this show, I was only sleeping maybe barely 2 hours a night because it was impossible for me to shut my brain off. They would lock you in the bedroom at night. People were fighting all day. I was dealing with all these drunk people. It was awful. So I was a mess. I had to go see my therapist a ton.
Wow.
We worked through a lot of stuff, but I came out of it, even better than before, I think.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Me too.
It
took me 4 months. It was 4 months of dealing with this issue.
Before you get through it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're on the other end of it now.
Me too.
The acting, I know you've studied at New York University. You just talked about the fact that you have been taking voice lessons. The dancing, is that new to you?
It's new. I mean, even singing, I've been taking voice lessons, but I do that on my own with my voice teacher. In this show, there's a lot of group singing. So learning to sing with others and harmonizing can be challenging because you might all be singing the same lyrics, but you might be singing it different ways, different harmonies, different melody lines, or different lyrics happening simultaneously with the same music playing. So it's been a challenge, but great. We work really hard as a team to practice. We practice before rehearsals. It's a real team effort, as it has to be. It's a group sitcom that it's based off, and it's a group show.
Physically, you're in better health than you've been in years.
I am.
How has that felt? The dancing, how has that felt for you?
A lot of extra cardio, so that's good. Because also dealing with the anxiety, I gained a lot of weight this year, and I think that all contributed to everything. Leaving that show, then not wanting to work out or eat healthy. I was in such a funk. Now, I haven't had a cheat day since May 9th, the day my daughter was born. So I haven't had a cookie, a drink, nothing actually, I haven't had a drink since January, but I haven't had any naughty foods in over 3 months now. And I feel like I really need to keep that up to really be focused on this show because I've got so much on my mind anyways. I've got the show and my day job, which keeps me really busy. So I feel like I'm an athlete in prime condition right now.
I know you haven't had the audience in the house yet, but when you're on stage in the rehearsals, do you find all of those anxieties disappearing while you're
Oh,
performing?
yeah. I'm just having the best time and trying to stay in character because sometimes, the other actors are making me laugh or if something, goes wrong. Actually, what's fun about this show is that, it's not highbrow at all. It's silly, it's fun, it's campy, it's raunchy, it's for adults. And if something goes wrong, like if somebody's wig is off or askew because that one character is playing 3 other characters and has so many costume changes, like that's part of the humor, I think. And I think if the audience sees us laughing, like that's funny too. Like when I watch SNL or things like that and I see the cast, breaking as they call it, I find that so funny.
And you're actually playing Danny Tanner, but then you're playing the guy. You're also playing Bob Saget. Can you explain to me a little bit?
Yes. Well, the
how
whole
that works
concept
and
of
how it
our
fits in?
musical is the Tanners are better than your family. And Danny Tanner has this amazing ability to make everything better with his famous dad speeches. However, something happens in our show where he loses that special power. So everybody starts to go crazy, including Danny, and he ends up becoming Bob Saget. And if you know anything about Bob Saget, he is very different than Danny Tanner.
Right.
Bob he likes the young ladies, he loves cursing, he smokes cigars, he drinks. He is like a 180 from Danny Tanner. So that's what's so fun for me as an actor is, act 1, I'm the character you know and love, although a heightened version of that. And then act 2, I just go off the rails. And it's a fun journey for me to be on every single show.
Perez Hilton as a heightened version. I don't think that's far of a stretch for any of us. This isn't the only upcoming dose of Full House for fans. There's a Netflix spinoff in the works called Fuller House, which will focus on DJ Tanner and her children. What's the enduring appeal about Full House for people?
Well, the enduring appeal was, it was an incredibly successful show.
Were you a fan?
Of course. Everybody was. Even the haters watched occasionally. And not only was it a hit in the US and Canada, it was a hit all over the world. And it was a show that appealed to multiple generations. Like you watched it at home with your family. So grandma was watching it with your parents and you. So as the years have gone on, that appeal endures because so many generations watched it when it was originally on the air. And it's been on syndication all this time as well.
True. There's also talk that French Prince of Bel-Air is going to get a reboot.
Will Smith is working on that. I don't want to see his son or daughter do it. I mean, I'm all for nepotism, but think outside the box.
Look for better casting from elsewhere.
I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it'd be good. I just don't know if I see. I would love it if they helped give somebody their break with this show. Just like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was Will's big break. I would love it if an unknown actor got the part.
That'd be a great story. Why do you think we're so fascinated with the 90s?
Well, not even the 90s. It's moved up. Early 2000s also now. Nostalgia. Wow. There's something escapist about it. We can't look into the future even though we want to. Just like I've been obsessed recently with this real estate website, looking at apartments, even though I just moved. People want escapism. So whatever that is, whether it be looking at hoping and fantasizing about the future or looking backwards, nostalgia is a great way to get out of your everyday life.
Just another form of escapism.
Yeah.
Now, you had just mentioned that your daughter was born in May. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's your second child,
yes.
Correct? How has your sight changed since you've become a father?
It definitely has changed, and it just continued on the journey that I was already on. I made a big change back in 2010 when I decided to stop being so much of a D-bag. And specifically with my children, I have this policy that I implemented after the birth of my son called the No Kids policy. That it was a movement that I became aware of, and I said, I want to be a part of this because it makes sense, where I won't post any paparazzi photos of children.
Okay.
They didn't choose that life. If a celebrity posts a photo on their social media, then of course it's okay to post. Or if they're going to an event like a red carpet premiere or an official party, then it's okay to post those photos as well. But I don't want to be posting photos of celebrity kids going to school or at the playground or anything like that. But yeah, no, I feel like as the years have gone on, I've grown up as a person, and so has my website.
Yeah, it's very open and honest of you to categorize it the way you just did. There are some people out there who will say, well, it's too little too late. What do you have to say to those folks?
Okay. You know, I am, though, optimistic that as the years go on, hopefully people can move past the mistakes of my past. And if not, then so be it. You know, somebody like Robert Downey Jr. made a lot of mistakes in his past, drug-related, criminal-related. He was arrested. He was in jail, served jail time. But I don't think people are holding that against him nowadays. Or somebody like Angelina Jolie publicly also owned up to making a lot of decisions that she might have regretted, whether that be drugs herself or things she said. But nowadays, people, I don't think, are judging her based on her past mistakes. They look at her who she is today. And I hope that as the years go on, people view me as who I am today and who I'm trying to be, and not the person that I was when I was starting out and for the first few years.
Did you have any idea back then that it was going to be as big?
No, because none of it existed. When I first started out, there was no, TMZ. There were much fewer. Really weren't any other websites doing what I was doing. All the celebrity magazines just used their websites to get subscriptions.
Right.
Back in 2004. I'm a dinosaur of the internet. But thankfully, I'm not extinct yet. And I keep evolving with the times. And I love it. I embrace change. Because if you don't, then you become extinct.
Can I ask you what inspired, and I know this is a personal question, but we saw some of the changes when you physically started to change, and now we're seeing that your perspective is changing. Can I ask what triggered it? What made you start to really work on yourself as a person?
Well, the physical was very shallow. The physical transformation began because I just wanted to get laid.
Very honest.
And gay men, myself included, can be some of the most body shaming and body conscious people.
Right.
Shaming myself. Like, oh, I don't want to get naked with anybody because I'm not comfortable with how I look. So I decided to change that. Now, flash forward 8+ years later, this year specifically, I've realized, and I have for a while now, there really is a tie intrinsic between a healthy body and a healthy mind for me. Because once I started getting back in the gym this year and started eating healthier again, that really helped my anxiety and that helped me feel better. Not just visually or for vanity. And then the transformation spiritually started to, I think, also be tied to that. Like the happier I became physically, the happier I became mentally and emotionally. And before I even made that transformation on the website back in the fall of 2010, I was thinking about it, but I was afraid to make that change. I was afraid to make that change because for so long I had been operating a certain way.
Right.
And, by that point, I had already employed my family. Like my mom and sister depended on me. They were working for me, and they still do. But there came a point where I was like, you know what? I need to make this change. And that point was in September of 2010. There was this gay teenager that committed suicide in New York City named Tyler Clementi. And he was one of what ended up being many. Very sad. I'd never seen something like that. It was like a rash of gay teenagers taking their lives.
Right.
And there was this journalist, Dan Savage, who created this movement called It Gets Better.
Yeah.
Very simple concept. Make a video that's encouraging to young gay people. So I made one, and I think I was the first public figure to make an It Gets Better video, because as soon as I heard about it, like instantly I made a video. And the response I got to that was soul shaking and changed me, because I thought that people might be able to separate what I do for a living with who I am as a person. Right. And I thought people might be able to separate Perez, the character, with me as a real human being.
Right.
Because I had created this character, and I also realized when that happened, I got lost in this character. The response that I got from people in making this video, which I thought was doing something positive, was a very negative response. People are like,
really?
how dare you? How could you make an It Gets Better video when you're part of the problem?
Oh,
You're a
interesting.
hypocrite. You're a big bully. And I was like, whoa, if that's how the majority of people are viewing me, then I need to make some changes, because I know in my heart that's not who I am.
Right.
I've been really a good actor in convincing people that Perez Hilton is real and that, this is who I am, but it's not. So I took steps to change it. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just put new rims on it. And it's not like I made huge changes. It's like, all right, I don't need to draw penises on people's faces anymore. I don't need to give people nasty nicknames. I could still have an opinion and be fun and silly, but I don't need to be purposely cruel and hurtful. In the past, my MO was, I'm going to prick you and be hurtful, hoping you'll get a response out of you. I don't need to do that anymore. Sometimes I still upset celebrities just because if my opinion is not what they want it to be, they get upset. And understandably, artists are very emotional and tied to their artwork, but not everybody's going to like your song.
If we go back to the early website, and when you're looking back on it now,
Yes.
the new Perez, are there posts that you wished you could take back?
Yes.
Can you give me a couple of examples?
I don't want to name names because I don't want to
redo it.
I don't want to hurt people again, but a lot. I'll watch interviews and see people say, oh, I have no regrets. I have a lot of regrets because the only thing I have now is wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would rather be less wise and not have hurt people in the past. And I'm also confident enough in who I am as a person and an entertainer and a provocateur or whatever you want to call me, a blogger, a person, a writer. I know I would have still achieved success had I not done those things.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know it.
Okay.
And I was reaffirmed that when I did that Celebrity Big Brother show, because on that show there was this woman who in many ways was like the old me. Like I feel like I did that show just straight up for the paycheck. They paid me a lot of money, even though I knew it was lame and D-list. I'm like, I don't care. I'll do a D-list show if they're going to pay me a lot of money. And the universe put me in there for a reason. Like, I feel like now I am truly cleansed of the sins of my past, and my karma is so clean because I saw my old self in there. There's this woman there who I guess, I don't know how to describe her for Canadians, but in America, there's this person named Ann Coulter, like really right-wing, conservative, cruel woman.
Right.
And she's like that in Britain, but worse. Like, she not only is like the old president, she'll say hurtful things about people, she'll say hurtful things about groups of people. She thinks all fat people are lazy. She hates tattooed people, won't hire tattooed people. She doesn't believe the government should be giving benefits to people. Like, she says just the most outlandish things. And I called her out. I'm like, you're just a straight up troll. Like, you're saying the things you're saying to get a response and because it's your paycheck. And I had to like really learn how to deal with that in my past. And I was like, you know what? She's saying these things because she thinks that's what she needs to say in order to get attention and in order to have a living. And you know what? You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to.
So after all these years of you watching stars, now you're going to be on the receiving end. And even in terms of Full House, we know that you reported before on Full House star Jordie Sweetin's marriages and drug problems. How does it feel for you knowing that you are now going to be the star in the spotlight?
I love it.
And are you scared at all?
No, I like to think I've always been a star. I have a really big head. But I work also hard at, I say that jokingly, but not really. I really believe I'm special and a star, but I also think that everybody's special and a star. When I speak to college students or high school students, one of the things I tell them, well, first of all, I start off by quoting a lyric from one of my favorite musicals because I'm a big gay. I quote a lyric from Gypsy. I say, you got to get a gimmick if you want to get ahead. And by that, I mean, every one of us is different and special. Every one of us truly is a star. And when you believe that, and when you find what it is that makes you different and special, and you share that with the world, that's when you truly succeed. That's when opportunities and success start pouring your way.
Be
You
you.
just need to find that. And if it's not apparent to you, then do some soul searching, or just explore things, do what makes you happy, and that will start to naturally bubble up.
That concept of being the best you, not trying to be someone else.
Yeah.
George Carlin often said to young comics, tell the jokes that only you can tell.
Yeah,
Don't tell the jokes everyone else can tell.
Exactly.
So your website has basically increased media coverage of celebrities in every genre, in every way possible.
Well, I love what, I feel like as the years have gone on, I've been doing this 11 years now. I feel like my website and my brand has evolved from just celebrity gossip to pop culture. Like now, it's not just celebrity news. I'm talking about anything that's pop culture related. And pop culture also includes politics, current events, wacky videos going viral on the internet, like anything that I think people want to know about. Like I have always viewed myself as a curator, an arbiter of taste, or sometimes tastelessness, but both extremes.
So now that you're a dad, you have 2 kids, your life is turning another corner, becoming a star. You are a household name. What's your legacy? What's the legacy of PerezHilton.com? What do you want it to be? What do you want your kids to look back and say?
I want my
dad?
legacy to be a great dad. That's how I.
But in terms of PerezHilton.com.
Well, in terms of PerezHilton.com, I want to be remembered as somebody who was a good sharer and entertainer, infotainer.
So in one word, your kids are now 40 years old.
Yes.
And they are going to say, my dad is...
Awesome.
Perez Hilton, a man in evolution. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.